Good evening, welcome. This is Hot Edition. We're live from Aniyusabata this weekend. Also live on Kesme 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W93.5 in Y and beyond. This evening, Ghanaian dancehall artist Shatawali remains in custody at the Economic and Organized Crime Office EOCO despite being granted bail in the sum of 10 million Ghana cedis. We're live at the EOCO as some SM fans continue to mass up at the EOCO offices. Stay with us here on Hot Edition. Also this evening, we'll look at the seeming tension between the Health Minister, Kwabena Kando, and some health workers in the wake of the alleged assault at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital. Stay with us. We've got details for you on Hot Edition now. And in this package this evening, at least 5 names emerge as potential contenders for the vacant Tamale Central Parliamentary seat ahead of the September 30 by-election. We have all the names right here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also on Kesme 107.1 and on W 93.5 in WA and beyond. We'll give you an update on President John Mahama assenting to the Fisheries and Aquaculture Bill 2025. All these plus the latest in business and sports over the next 1 hour. I am Alfred Ocansey. Let's settle for a summary of the news now.
Thank you very much, Alfred. In our summaries tonight, an intelligence-led operation. On Wednesday, the Municipal Chief Executive of Kintampo North led a joint team of military and police personnel to arrest 4 individuals engaged in illegal mining on the Black Volta River. The operation, which directly responded to the rampant pollution of the water, marks a significant step in the municipality's fight against environmental degradation caused by illegal mining. The MCA explained that the operation was initiated after intelligence revealed that a group of galamseyers were operating within the municipality's jurisdiction. In other stories, the Economic and Organized Crime Office EOCO has named Honda CR-VS, Ford F-150 pickups, Range Rovers and Dodge models as the top vehicle brands under suspicion in its latest operation against stolen cars trafficked into Ghana. Interpol has already described Ghana as a lucrative hub for vehicles stolen mainly from Canada and the United States. EOCO says its investigations confirm that these 4 brands account for the majority of cases intercepted in recent months. Head of EOCO's legal unit, Leo Anthony Siama, explained that buyers should be extra cautious when dealing with these models. The Public Accounts Committee of Parliament has described the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition to work with the Foreign Affairs Ministry and the police to arrest Ms. Ya Sewa Jan, a former staff member who allegedly absconded after taking a fully paid steady leave. According to the Auditor General's report, Ms. Jan was granted a steady leave with paying amount to over 120,000 Ghana cedis with the agreement that she would return to serve her bond term. However, the report revealed that she failed to return and has since vacated her post. While the Public Accounts Committee members, visibly displeased, ordered her immediate arrest and repayment of the funds. Finally, the Minister of Health, Kwabena Kando, has announced the establishment of a 24-hour call center to handle patient complaints across hospitals in the country. Speaking at a press briefing in Accra on Thursday, August 21, 2025, Mr. Kando said the initiative will provide the public with a direct channel to report dissatisfaction with healthcare services.
Thank you, Christabel. That's more news on 3news.com as Ghanaian dancehall artist Charles Niama Mensah Jr., popularly known as Shatawali, remains in custody of the Economic and Organized Crime Office EOCO, despite being granted bail by the investigative agency. Shatawali was invited to EOCO's office on Wednesday, August 20, to assist in investigations into the purchase of a Lamborghini Urus, which has been linked to proceeds of a $4 million crime involving Nana Kwabena Amoah, a Ghanaian currently serving a prison term in the United States. Stay with us. We're going to tell you exactly who this Nana Kwabena Amoah is and how he comes into this particular scheme of things related to the Lamborghini vehicle and also Shatawali. Now, Shatawali's managers say he voluntarily reported himself but was subsequently arrested and granted bail in the sum of 10 million Ghana cedis with 2 sureties to be justified. In a statement issued earlier today, the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, said Shatawali remains in custody pending the provision of the sureties, whose properties will be verified to ensure they are commensurate with the bail amount. Now, we have a copy of this particular statement. If you go on our Facebook page at 3FM927, we posted portions of this statement from EOCO, and here are the reasons why Shatawali spent the night in the EOCO that's coolest. Charles Nyama Mensah Jr. Shatawali arrived around 3 p.m. according to this statement by EOCO, and insisted that he was not going to cooperate until his counsel, that is his lawyers, arrived. Nyama was granted bail around 9 p.m. shortly after interrogation ended. He was granted bail of 10 million Ghana cedis with 2 sureties to be justified. And then once sureties are presented, EOCO will undertake surety inspection, after which Charles Nyama Mensah will leave the custody to assist in investigations surrounding a 2019 Lamborghini, a car identified by the FBI and the U.S. Justice Department as proceeds of a $4 million crime involving one Nana Kwabena Amoah, a Ghanaian who is currently serving jail term in the United States. Charles Nyama Mensah has been unable to identify the person from whom he purchased the said Lamborghini vehicle, except to say that he purchased it from the streets and from someone possibly called Zach, who may have contacted him on WhatsApp, but whose identity he does not know and whose contact he has thrown away. So that's the narrative or alibi of Shatawali, that he does not know the person he bought the car from. He has thrown the person's contact away. The person contacted him on WhatsApp, and then he also goes on to make the point that, as far as he is aware, he bought this car from the streets. So far, Charles Nyama Mensah does not also possess any documentation in terms of receipt or transfer documents which shows that he owns or purchased the said vehicle, except a custom declaration document in his possession bearing the name of Nana Kwabena Amoah, who is currently in jail. So that's the development right now, and let's get a bit more detail into this. And Dennis Popere-Wadam Esquire is with me right now, and let's get into it. Then first off, let's start off for the uninitiated. Who is Nana Kwabena Amoah, whose name keeps coming up in this whole Lamborghini sale, which has gotten Shatawali into trouble?
Well, so Nana Kwabena Amoah is a convict as we speak. He had been involved in some dealings in the United States, which led to his conviction. These dealings were fraudulent in nature, for which the FBI took interest in his operation. He was doing this together with some other persons who, amongst other things, impersonated a non-profit organization that had a business with the city of Lexington. Now, long story short, these persons were engaged in fraud for which they were convicted. Now, as part of the conviction, subsequent to the conviction, they were sentenced. But then there was also some sort of an agreement for Nana Kwabena Amoah in particular to return some amount of money to the U.S. state by way of restitution. In doing so, the authorities there started tracing his properties. So what it meant is that he agreed to pay some money to them, and in so doing, whatever properties were in his name or were procured with the proceeds of that crime for which he was convicted and sentenced, they started tracing those. It came up that some of the properties were taken outside of the jurisdiction of the U.S. Some of them were found in Ghana, and that's how come the FBI requested EOCO, which is the local authority which is directly involved when it comes to matters of money laundering and this nature, to also pursue this particular matter. So Nana Kwabena Amoah is a convict, is Ghanaian, but the conviction happened in the United States because the crimes for which he has been convicted took place in the United States. So to answer your question, this is a person who has been convicted for which the proceeds of his crime are being traced by the FBI and the traces lead to, part of the traces leading to Ghana, for which EOCO is now handling that matter.
And is he in any way linked to this Lamborghini in question?
Well, so that is the premise on which EOCO is proceeding on, to say that this Lamborghini in question is said to be proceeds of the crimes that Nana Kwabena Amoah committed, for which he's been convicted and sentenced. So in essence, they are saying that that particular Lamborghini is tainted by virtue of the fact that it has some linkage with the crimes that were committed by Nana Kwabena Amoah.
See, and Dennis, I'm going to come back to you, but stay with me. Let's cross over to the offices of the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, where Noble Crosby Annan is connecting with us. Crosby, now what's happening where you are?
Well, Alfred, it's been some sort of a mini street carnival or a concert since the morning. Supporters of Shatawali began arriving here as early as 5 a.m. That's what some of them are telling me. Now, the number has been increasing steadily since 5 a.m. And at the moment, the entire frontage of the Economic and Organized Crime Office and the streets across the road, one side of the street has been completely blocked by supporters of Shatawali. What happened in the morning was when they began gathering, a vehicle approached with speakers. So it turned into a party, if you like, but the demand is the same, that Shatawali be released. While the atmosphere dies down a little, the selection of whoever is in charge of the music has been able to ginger the crowd as and when the energy is going down. The supporters have been unanimous in their voice. They are demanding that he be released. Once in a while, they sing songs like what you're hearing at the background. Police presence is also very high here. We see some supporters of Shatawali, some close relations of Shatawali. We've seen industry players like Bullets come through. We've seen his manager some flags around. Captain, one of his former teammates in the SM for Life camp, has also been around, as well as a few people who belong to the Shatawali camp. They've been, trickling in the headquarters of the Economic and Organized Crime Office. We understand that they are working to provide all the documentation needed for the bail of Shatawali. The thinking or the communication is that Shatawali will be able to fulfill the bail conditions by close of today, and he will not spend another day here.
Just for the benefit,
from 9 a.m. up until now, we have not had any indication that Shatawali or his team have been able to do that, but we know that they are working towards fulfilling the bail conditions. So if you ask me, Alfred, this is exactly what has been happening here for the past couple of hours.
I see. Now, for the benefit of those who don't have an idea of what is happening there, if you go on our Facebook page right now at 3FM927, we're showing you live videos of what's happening at the EOCO. That's the streets right in front of the EOCO office in Accra Central. We have the likes of Bullet, as Crosby just mentioned, also granting interviews to the media and so on. And that's on our Facebook page at 3FM927. We're showing you the live videos of the crowd outside of the EOCO offices, which we understand these are the Shatta movement family members who are there as we speak. But how about the security situation there, Crosby? Now, looking at the numbers that are increasing by the minute, the people who also throng this place, how's the security situation like?
Well, Alfred, you know that Shatawali describes himself as somebody from the street, and he does his music for the people on the street. So if you come here, you see a lot of men, a lot of youth, people of very youthful age who are in love with Shatawali and his music, the kind of music he does. They think he relates so much with them and their life and how, they see themselves. So the place is full of supporters of Shatawali from all walks of life, young men between the ages of somewhat 15 up until 40. And that's the average age we're seeing here. Of course, once in a while we see some older men and some older women also around dancing to his music. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a live DJ session ongoing because speakers are playing some of Shatawali's songs, and the song selection is also something that is, whipping up the interest of the crowd that are here. People are clad in red armbands, that they are angry at what is happening. While they have fun, Alfred, while they dance and make merry, they are also demanding that Shatawali be released. At the moment, we know that the Economic and Organized Crime Office, they have closed. So we see some of the staff, walking out of the office because they are done for the day. But of course, certainly there'll be some others there because Shatawali is still inside, and the supporters say that until Charles Nyama Mensah is released or let go out of the office, they are also spending the day, however long it may be, spending the night, however long it may be, here at EOCO.
I see. And no, thank you very much for this. And as you indicated, it's 5 p.m. They've closed. Any indication of what's going to be happening in the next few hours ahead of us, especially regarding the crowd who are massing up there as we speak?
But I wish I had that information because that's all what we are hoping for. But it's been difficult getting the information. His manager, Sammy Flex, has not spoken with us yet about the bail conditions. At the moment, he and a few others are inside the premises of EOCO, seated after going, up and down for a while with some documents, introducing people into the conversation and all of that. That we don't know. But one of the industry players, music producer, artist manager, Bullet, he was here, and it is in an engagement with setting in his mind that this is more than an arrest based on investigations in relation to this Lamborghini vehicle we're talking about. He thinks that this pure witch hunt, this is something that should not be of good news to the entire music industry. People should not be happy about this. That Shatawali has set the pace setter. He's just been victimized. He's just being drawn back because of how open he has made the music industry in the country.
Crosby, we'll cross over to you intermittently and to gauge the mood there. Thank you very much. That's Noble Crosby Annan, who is at the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO offices here in Accra, the Accra Central specifically, the headquarters of EOCO, where we understand that the supporters of dancehall artist Charles Nyama Mensah Jr., popularly known as Shatawali, are massing up at the frontage of this particular building. We have live videos of what's happening there right now. If you go on our Facebook page at 3FM927, we're showing them to you. And security is also heavily present there. The Ghana Police Service have also mounted a barricade. They've blocked one side of the road because of the increasing numbers of these SM family members who have thronged the premises of the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, where Shatawali is at the moment because he's unable to meet the bail conditions that have been slapped on him. Dennis Babewodam is with me in the studio. But so hearing what EOCO is saying right now, Dennis, that one, Shatawali is unable to point to exactly who he bought the vehicle from. He says he bought it from the street. He cannot provide a number, the phone number of the person, the identity of the person. How complicated does it make his case, from the legal perspective?
Well, so these are matters that relate to money laundering, and as I have fully explained, when it comes to money laundering, it simply means that you are in possession of a certain property which is deemed to be proceeds from an illegal activity, for which you have tried to change its nature to conceal it from the law enforcement agencies. So the point essentially made is that this particular Lamborghini, which we are now told is a proceed of some illegal activity in the US, has found its way into the jurisdiction of Ghana in the possession of somebody. Now, they are seeking to know, how did you get it? So that they are clear in their minds that this property that you have in your possession is not just an attempt by you together with some other persons to conceal the identity of that property so that the law enforcement agencies will detect it. So now that Shatawali has given his version of this particular, his version of the story, it is for the law enforcement agencies to now use that together with what they have gathered themselves to see how they can progress with this particular case. Alfred, this is more like the offense of dishonestly receiving, where somebody steals a property and then gives it to another person. In such instances, what the law seeks to do is to let the person who has received the thing dishonestly to show that, yes, indeed, I received this thing in good faith. I have parted money, but I did not have notice that this was property which was stolen.
Right.
The same principles will apply in this. And that's exactly what EOCO is trying to do in this particular matter. So depending on the kind of explanation that Shatawali is able to give in respect of this Lamborghini, it will go a long way to inform how they are going to proceed with this particular
because
matter.
Of what you just said, in this means that question about what's the weight of responsibility now on Shatawali being, as it were, the third party in this instance, that he bought a vehicle.
Yes.
Which as has been explained, the responsibility was on him to, as it were, check the vehicle in its all its forms, so as to clear it of any form of questions or liability whatsoever. Because now the conversation is, if you go to any carport to go and buy a vehicle, now this time that's a different case in the case of Shatawali, because he says the person contacted him on social media, but that's on WhatsApp.
Yes.
Right, and he can't also find the person.
He can't identify the person. He has thrown away the person's contact. The only thing he remembers is that he bought the car for $150,000
from the streets.
From the streets. Now, it also appears from the statement of EOCO that it is that Shatawali social media address, that TikTok live that he did, which has now precipitated this kind of conversation we're having today. Because when you read paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the EOCO statement, it says, and I read, on August 5, 2025, following a public claim by Charles Niama that he purchased the car at the price of $150,000 from an unidentified party, EOCO issued an invitation to Charles Niama to report on the 13th August 2025, which appointment was rescheduled for August 20, 2025 at 10 p.m. So what essentially you're saying is that it is based on his own confessions or statements which he made publicly on this particular day, which has now necessitated EOCO to want to probe further. Because mind you, when you are looking at the circumstances of a transaction, some of the things that will come up for what lawyers will say a defense of you having been a bona fide purchaser for value without notice is for you to be able to explain the circumstances. For instance, if this is an iPhone 13, if I were to sell this iPhone 13 to Christabel for 10 cedis, that in itself would raise questions. So the value of the car in this particular instance will also have to raise questions. So the understanding in this particular statement is that based on the figure that Shatawali attributed to this particular car, which is already a matter of investigation, we think that we should dig further. And in digging further, they sought to know who you bought the car from. He says he bought the car from the streets, from somebody who reached out to him on WhatsApp, probably by the name Zach. He does not have. And the expectation is that once you buy a car, there should be transfer of ownership. The property in the car should be transferred to you, and then you should have some documents supporting it. Interestingly, Alfred, there is a further information that has been disclosed today, which Shatawali had initially said he did not know, which may also be true. Mind you, when Shatawali did a live view, one of the things he said was that he did not know Kwabena Amwa.
Exactly.
He said he had bought the car from a third party. I mean, in that live video, he didn't mention any Zach, or he said it was from a third party.
True.
Now, it shows that Shatawali has a document which he shows to the law enforcement agencies today, which they say is a custom declaration document bearing the name Nana Kwabena Amwa.
So what that means is that he certainly had an idea of who this.
Perhaps
or he didn't even read the document.
Came to his attention very late, or maybe he didn't read the document. But when you want to juxtapose what he said in that live video as to what the document is now showing, it means that the only document which he shows today now has the name Nana Kwabena Amoah, and it is the same person that they are tracing his proceeds of crime for which Shatawali is involved in this matter. But Shatawali has said that he does not know. But as to what context Shatawali says that he does not know this person, we are unable to tell. I mean, it's one thing seeing somebody's name on a document and knowing the person as in, like me knowing you, Alfred.
Mm-hmm.
So it's becoming a bit complex, but by and large, information is coming in, and I think the law enforcement agencies will be able to work with this. What is now the outstanding issue is for the justification of the sureties.
Yes.
Once that is done, he will be released. All the other investigations can also be ongoing along the sites as they do further investigations.
But also you mentioned the value of the car, and Christabel has been also looking into some research right now. And then if you go on the truecar.com, it's one globally acclaimed vehicle sale of second-hand vehicles site.
Okay.
What value do they put to the Lamborghini Urus 2019?
Well, they're saying that a used 2019 Lamborghini Urus is typically ranging in prices from $139,862 to $339,900.
So between $139,000
yes.
to over $300,000.
And this is depending on the condition of the mileage.
I see.
Okay. So yes, like I said, all those are indicators. It adds up to the investigation. It's not conclusive that once there's a certain range and then the price quoted is far below the range, automatically it is. But it raises suspicion as to the genuity of the transaction.
Right.
Because mind you, when we are transacting to buy a car, it's more like a contractual relation.
Absolutely.
And the bottom line is that freedom of contracts, I am at liberty to contract with you as much as we desire, except it should not be unconscionable and all those things. But this is just an indication that once the price is ridiculously low or high,
the condition of the car and the mileage as well, all of that is taken into consideration. And I know you are a lover of these luxury cars, so mentioning Lamborghini, you have a better idea of
dream cars actually for everyone, including yourself.
Let's go on to the telephone now. And Austin Bracco Powers is private legal practitioner. Mr. Bracco Powers, do you drive a Lamborghini, by the way?
All right, no. Maybe it's a dream car. It's something I would be aspiring to drive maybe in the coming days.
Perfect. But EOCO is saying that it's up to Shatawali to meet the bail conditions. But then again, what happens if those conditions are not met? Because what we are hearing now, there seems to be a struggle.
Yeah, so after, let me say good evening to your listeners. I think first off, the thing is that Shatawali has a right to remain silent. And I think it's something we need to get people to understand. That there's what we call, the right not to incriminate oneself. It is a privilege that anyone, whether it is invoked in the context of civil or criminal proceedings, has a liberty to decide not to say anything. So if EOCO is saying that Shatawali was unable to identify or disclose the person he purchased the vehicle from, that is his choosing. He can decide not to say anything. You get it? And he can even decide to tell EOCO that I don't know the person, but he knows the person. And he will be willing, or his lawyer will be willing to prove him when he's put before a court of competent jurisdiction. And after, let me be clear. You and I have had this conversation over and over again, and the position of the law is clear. In the multi-table case, which was decided in 2019, the law is clear. 48 hours is 48 hours. And I have always said that if you impose a bail term on a suspect, and the suspect is unable to discharge within the stipulated 48 hours, then the onus is on you as a law enforcement agency to produce the person before court and let the court justify the continuous detention of the person. You can't keep the person in your custody and claim that I have granted him bail, but he's unable to discharge it. And by reason of that, I will continue to detain him. That is unlawful because the law is clear. And if anyone will the judges of the apex court, they were clear that 48 hours means 48 hours and not a minute or a second beyond that. And I think EOCO, this is a conversation that we want our authorities, the government, to stamp the authority on that and get the law enforcement agencies to do what is right and then needful. Because already there's a decision on that. And yet we see EOCO and some law enforcement agencies trying to flout this particular law. And it is unhelpful. It doesn't help and doesn't ensure predictability or certainty. Because every time EOCO or any of the law enforcement agencies invite you, you know that either they detain you or when they detain you, they are likely to detain you beyond the 48 hours. And that's
okay. But Counsel, just for the benefit of clarity, if you're saying that 48 hours is 48 hours, yes. But then again, if the person who is being slapped with this this bail condition is unable to meet the bail conditions, is the entity, in this case EOCO, still bound to have the person released after 48 hours without condition? I mean, is that what the law really says?
Exactly. So Alfred, this is a very solid question. Now, the simple answer is this. When there's somebody and the person is unable to discharge it means that you, the law enforcement agency, you will not release the person because, one, the person has been unable to discharge bail condition. And you cannot do so without the sanction of a court of competent relation. Because the moment you see that, it means that you've crossed your bounds and the boundary that the delimitations created by the Constitution. When you do it,
No. So let me understand this. Are you saying that if Shatawali is unable to meet the bail condition, let's say it's just for the benefit of analysis, if he's unable to meet the bail condition and after 48 hours, EOCO will have to go to court to seek the court's permission to keep him beyond the 48 hours?
Exactly. So after this is it. If you keep Shatawali, if you detain Shatawali and you realize that it's hitting 48 hours, and Shatawali has been unable to discharge his bail condition, you begin to tell the court that we have imposed a bail condition on Shatawali. Is unable to discharge, so action is continuous detention in our custody. It is only the court that will say go on and keep Shatawali because he has been unable to discharge his bail condition. But on your own volition, you cannot do that without the blessing of the sanction of the court. The moment after you do that, it means that you cross bounds provided by the Constitution that is gone beyond the 48 hours, unlawful. And it's flouted in the decision of the Supreme Court. And this one, and like I said, the decision of the Supreme Court was to rather re-emphasize the Constitution, which is that do not detain the person beyond 48 hours.
I see.
And I've always maintained that when the person is unable to discharge his bail condition, it means that you will discharge him and you will continue to detain him. By reason of that, go to court and let the court sanction the continuous detention.
Have you seen this happen in practice before, or is that it's a position you are advocating?
No, this is something that the law. When you read the Constitution and you read the decision, the multi-table decision rendered in 2019, it is patently clear on the face of the decision and even the text of the Constitution. But often our enforcement agencies have gone beyond, and this is the last I was saying that now it appears the Supreme Court may have to quite certain sanctions that must be leveled against law enforcement agencies that cross that 48 hours boundary or the rule. Because it's becoming one too many and it's like a fanfare. Nobody says, and even suspects, their lawyers will not drag them to court. I think there should be some sanity. The lawyers of the they must be able to take the issue, escalate the issue to the apex court, like sanction through, so that we can sanitize the system. Because when it happens like that, like I said, there's no certainty. When you are invited, you are scared because they will detain you beyond the 48 hours, and they can tell you that we granted you bail, you were unable to discharge it, and that is unhelpful.
All right. I do appreciate you talking to us this evening. I mean, this is an evolving conversation, so certainly we'll connect again. Thank you so much. And that's a private legal practitioner sharing his thoughts with us here, Barack Powers. And if a security analyst has also been sharing his thoughts on this, Christabel?
Yes, Richard Kumado says the presence of supporters at EOCO cannot influence investigations. He spoke to 3FM earlier.
That's definitely a standard procedure. I don't think their massing up will affect what the investigators are doing. I've always said that anytime notice is served that you've come under crime investigation or you've come under national security interest, what is appropriate is that you look for where they are, you comport yourself, your comportment is key, and the way you behave is also key. One way of getting what they want is also to speak to them. But if you amass yourself, it doesn't really help your case. In the case of our brother Shatawali, this particular case is involving the State Department in the U.S. We are understanding that the Justice Department is also involved, and we are understanding that the FBI and the CIA and the National Crime Agency, everybody is interested in this particular case. It will do him good if the standard procedures are followed and he allows his lawyers to deal with investigators at EOCO. That will really do him good, and that will really facilitate many of the questions that will be asked, and that may create a leverage for him. Other than that, massing up will rather create some level of discomfort for him.
That's Richard Kumado. Dennis Boberwadam, appreciate you for this, and we're going to sink our teeth a bit further into this matter on Ghana Tonight at 10 p.m. on TV3. So if you're listening to us, make a date. Dennis and I will be on TV3 at 10 p.m. But let's move on to some other stories, shall we?
Health Minister Kwabena Mintah Akando has defended his decision to shake hands with Ralph St. Williams, the social media activist accused of assaulting a health worker at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital. This follows his scathing criticism after a video the encounter with the accused, with many suggesting the gesture undermined the seriousness of the case. At a news conference today, the minister said the handshake was not an endorsement of the alleged assault, but a courtesy expected of a public officer. He insisted the gesture does not affect government's commitment to accountability. The minister has since set up a committee to investigate the alleged assault and promised that appropriate action will follow once the findings are ready.
I sent a delegation to Ridge Hospital to ascertain the situation. When the delegation came back upon debriefing, I realized that I had to follow up. And ladies and gentlemen, let me state this, that I have the health workers of this country at heart. And so any attempt by any individual or any group of people to try to incite the health professionals against government, pretending he cares more than us, is unfortunate. And we must stop that. It's an avoidable tension we must avoid. It doesn't help the sector. If indeed you are a practicing health professional in the sector, it doesn't help the sector. Absolutely nobody has the right to attack any health professional in this country. That is the government of the issue. No diversionary tactics about handshaking. That is what we must concentrate on, to send a clear signal that our health professionals working at the various health facilities are safe.
That was Health Minister Kwabena Mintah Akando. The Minister for Employment and Labour, Dr. Rashid Pelpo, has also waded in saying his outfit will summon a meeting with the National Labour Commission to have a comprehensive look at the alleged assault at the Ridge Hospital. He spoke during an appearance at the Public Accounts Committee hearing today.
One of the key things we do in the ministry is to ensure that we have a stable, healthy workforce in this country. And it's part of the law that is binding our functional duty to the people of Ghana. And we have the Labour Commission, which has all the duties of ensuring that single issues like these are handled effectively. So I've called a meeting with them, and they would look at it more comprehensively and advice on what next level needs to strengthen their own capacity to make sure the whole country is covered. The Labour Commission has requested that it will be of great importance if we can have regional offices which will look at it comprehensively throughout the country. So we don't have situations where there will be a situation which is out of reach with our duty to individual workers.
That was the Minister for Employment and Labour, Dr. Rashid Pelpo. Alfred.
And let's speak to the National Chair of the Government and Hospital Pharmacists Association, Dr. Emmanuel Owusu Wiafe, is joining us on the telephone right now. Good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good evening, and thank you for having me.
Now, the Minister has been explaining exactly what has happened after this incident and what measures have been taken to address this matter once and for all, especially regarding the safety and welfare of the health workers. Does this answer the questions you had and also address the concerns that you had as health workers?
Yes, so absolutely, the action from the minister is very welcoming. We fully support the call. We are very elated that the perpetrators have been arrested, and I think by and large there has been an assurance of enhanced security measures at the hospital, and then we are also mindful of the support that has been rendered to the affected staff, and so we welcome that development. Kudos to our honorable minister.
And talk about the also what has to be done to ensure that this doesn't recur, especially the incidents that expose the health workers to any form of danger.
Okay, so first and foremost, I think yes, the one on the security is key, enhanced security is key. But there are some pending, core issues that also ought to be appropriately, addressed. When you visit most of our healthcare facilities, one very key issue has even got to do with the subject of, understaffing. And in an emergency setting, sometimes even if you look at the staff on duty, you cannot always pinpoint, how things will turn up. And so on some days, there will be, a number of people who may visit. And so the issue of staffing, would have to be carefully, addressed. And then the subject of appropriate resourcing of the various, emergency, wards and our hospitals in generality. Many of these hospitals lack some basic equipment to even perform some particular lab tests, scans, and other, logistical constraints. And this one can also hamper speedy emergency care. And so that also ought to be appropriately addressed. And then, of course, we welcome the issue that has got to do with the appropriate, how they can appropriately, channel grievances, etc. I think now the minister has ordered all healthcare facilities to boldly display contacts to call, in such events. And then there is even the national one that he duly announced. That is welcoming. But that notwithstanding, I think we also need to enhance education to the general population, so that we also interact up well with healthcare staff. We ought to, be patient also with healthcare staff, and then just give them, we have to accord them that trust that when we call on these emergency services, we are in good hands and they will be able to take care of us. One thing that has to be made bare has got to do with the fact that within the emergency room, we apply protocols, etc. And so sometimes it is not always about who has come into the emergency room first. They triage. And so if there is a case that need more, that need urgent, that attention, there may be the tendency for the staff to attend to it even before some others. And in such instances, we bear with our patients to, take that into mind.
I see. Well, I thank you so much for this. And I know we'll be engaging a bit more as the days go by. Thank you for joining us. Austin Game is a labor expert and labor consultant. He's joining us on the telephone. So, Game, thank you. You hear the government, these are the pharmacists. But then the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, they say that until all persons involved in this matter are arrested, and then in the next 24 hours they would advise themselves. The minister has sought to respond to their concerns and give them the needed assurance. What has to be done to bring a truce to this brewing tension between the ministry and the registered nurses, especially? In fact, the Ghana Medical Association also weighed in at some point. Unfortunately, we lost Austin Game. We'll try to raise him back on the telephone to have a conversation with us on this. But this is Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We're also on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. Keep your thoughts coming through 3FM 927. We read out to you and to the rest of the world. And also the happenings specifically and the aftermath of that incident at the Reg Hospital is some 10 minutes to the top of the hour. 6 p.m. here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We're back shortly after this quick break with the latest in the world of business.
Accra, Ghana, Africa, and worldwide.
Hello there, good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on the 3FM Hot Edition. My name is Bill Ishen. Let's start off from the local scene where in the Gal Cup top 4, Pando Hearts of Lions lost by 1-0 to Accra Hearts of Oak, and also Asante Kotoko lost by 2-1 to BBNE Gold Stars. Now, their next fixtures will be taking place on the 22nd of August, where Asante Kotoko will be taking on Pando Hearts of Lions, and head coach of Lions, that is Bashir Hayford, Sport, has stated that he has seen the mistakes that were made against Hearts of Oak and will be ready for that fixture against Asante Kotoko.
It gives me a lesson, so I know where to continue again, because I've seen a lot from the two games. We are just preparing for the season, so the team has not gelled yet. We are preparing the team for the league. All these things are preparatory matches for the league, and it's good for us. You now try some new boys, and it's good. I've learned a lot from it.
That was Bashir Hayford, the head coach of Pando Hearts of Lions. Still on the local scene, Maxwell Konedu has been named the new head coach of Ghana's under-20 national team, the Black Satellites. Now, he takes over from Desmond Ofei, who ended this campaign in the Wafu B Championship. And my colleague Mutala Yakubu assesses his arrival, that is Maxwell Konedu, to the Black Satellites.
Former Black Galaxy's head coach, that is Maxwell Konedu, has now been named the head coach for the under-20. Konedu replaces Desmond Ofei, who also chalked some successes with this under-20 team. Remember, he won the All-African Games Gold Men's Football Edition. He also qualified the team to the under-20 Africa Cup of Nations, though we failed to qualify for the World Cup. I mean, Konedu is one person whose resume makes him very fit for this job, because he comes in with rich vein of experience, having coached clubs like Asante Kotoko, Legon Cities, 11 Wonders, with his most recent job being that in Swachaman job before he departed the country and went to South Africa and came back. He is also known for, bringing out some of the best young players in the country and giving opportunities to young players. So he fits the role very well. He's even been at the national team level where he was with the Black Stars as an assistant coach. So for me, Maxwell Konedu is perfect for this job.
Right, that was Mutala Yakubu speaking on Maxwell Konedu joining the Black Satellites as the new head coach. But moving up from the Satellites to the Black Stars, Elisha Owusu, who is a member of the Black Stars, has been named among the leaders of Auxerre in Ligue 1. Now, Elisha Owusu has stated in an exclusive interview to 3 Sports that the leadership, the captain's armband, extends beyond what goes on in the pitch.